Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Make It Monday. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do a galaxy theme tumbler using the galaxy theme package from Backfist Customs. Obviously this, with just like any other tumbler, there's more than one way to do it. This is just the way that I've found that I actually prefer now. Let's scoot you up just a little. So here we go. I've already got a little bit of epoxy mixed up from a previous tutorial that I was doing. So I'm going to move these out of the way for a moment. And I'm going to put on a little bit of epoxy. Now this is the epoxy method. I will not need to continue to spin this tumbler. But I'm doing it for designing, for while I'm designing. I just find it easier for me anyway to sprinkle the glitters as it's moving for this particular design. It just gives it a more random look. You can continue to turn it if you'd like to, but if you're doing your epoxy method correctly, you're using such a thin amount of epoxy that you don't need to let this turn. You can free up your turner for something that needs a final coat while this cures. Again, this is just the epoxy method for applying glitter. Making sure to get in all of my little tape lines, and then I'm going to go back and wipe off any excess. I think I'm good. So now I'm going to go back, it's just a silicone makeup brush, and I'm going to wipe off any of the excess epoxy. It'll take a few rotations because this thing goes so fast. This actually goes a lot faster than most turners that I'm used to. So it's going to take me a second. That's okay, take your time. You're just trying to get your epoxy so that it won't run, and also so that it doesn't soak up your glitter. If you have too much epoxy on your cup when you're doing the epoxy method for glittering, it will soak up your glitter. You'll end up using way more glitter than necessary, and it'll also oftentimes make your glitter look dull. You don't want your glitter soaking into the epoxy, you just want the epoxy holding your glitter on. I used to swear by Mod Podge. I felt like I had so much control, and ever since I learned and mastered the epoxy method, this is my go-to. And the reason I say learned and mastered was because when I first tried it, it was awful. I had too much epoxy, it would run, it looked awful, and you just gotta do it until you find that little tiny amount that you need. You don't even really want to see the epoxy. You just want to see a wet cup. And you see I'm wiping quite a bit off of this. You can save yourself that trouble if you don't put a lot on. I put a lot on because I feel like I have more confidence that I'm going to get better coverage that way and make sure it's everywhere. I would rather take these extra few minutes to wipe it off than to have bare spots. So that's why I do it that way. I always have too much on there. But now I think I'm good. I'm not seeing any more epoxy lines, which is important, because if you see the lines now, you will see them after as well. Looks good to me. Okay, so I'm going to explain to you this two different ways that I've done these particular galaxy themed tumblers. The first way is if you want your colors to be very, very bright, vibrant, the actual colors that you'll be using, these three. If you want your colors to be very vibrant, then you're going to add your black first and then come back with the colors over it. Recently I had an order and she wanted very dull colors. She wanted mostly black with just that little hint of color. And I made it that way and I absolutely loved it. So that's what I'm going to show you today, is how to get a little bit of more subtle coloring. And basically the way to do that is you're going to add your color and then put the black over it. So let's get started. Obviously this is very random. You can do it however you like, however much glitter or few glitter you'd like. Also, normally after I finish the color, I pour it back in and change out my paper, letting you know ahead of time I'm not doing it this time, only because I want a mix of these three. So I'm doing it for my own personal little satisfaction. And it's random, so you put a little wherever you want it. If you want it in a line, if you want just dots, however you want it. If you just want a little sprinkle of color every once in a while, hold your spoon way up, and that'll give you just a little splash in there. And that's all the purple I'm going to do, believe it or not. At least for right now. Now I'm going to come over to my poolside. Gorgeous blue, one of my favorite. And I'm going to kind of go a little bit with my purple. Not completely, because it's random, but I want my colors together. And then I might add a single blue one out there, and then again a little bit of blue color, just by holding my spoon way up. And that'll give me a little bit of color throughout. And now I'll come back in with my carnation pink. And this one I'm going to do completely different. Random. Not on my other colors. Now I'm going to change out my paper, because these three colors I just wanted together. It's so pretty. I'm going to stick that over here for later. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to add a little bit of my Dazzling Gems. Now there's also Silver Sparkles, which is holographic silver stars. You could swap that out for that if you'd like. You could also use, I forget what they're called, but there's holographic hearts, and I've used those on one before as well. But for this one, I'm going to stick with the theme package. And this, I'm literally just putting a couple little spots where there's going to be the Dazzling Gems. All right, now, I'm going to go in with my black sparkle, and you will see how muted these colors become once I add my black sparkle. And literally, I pour it over everything. All over the pinks, all over everything. Just pour it on there. And if you did the epoxy method right, then where your pink is, it's not going to cover it. It's going to dull it a little bit, but once I tap this off, that pink will show again. You'll see what I mean. So you're covering your whole tumbler now in the black. I know it feels crazy, right? But trust me. Trust me, trust me. Feels like I'm using a lot. I'm not. There's quite a bit falling, and that will just pour right back in here. That's why I changed out my paper. Make sure you're getting your tape lines. I always say that because there's been a few times where I've actually messed up and been so worried about covering certain areas that I don't pay attention all the way down there. And so I'm just reminding y'all. Alright, before I tap this, I'm going to pour this back in. And the reason I'm doing it before I tap, I already tapped once, but alright. I'm doing it beforehand because if any of the other colors come off, I don't want them in my black sparkle. Now, look how much came off. I don't know if you guys can see that. Now, I don't know how well you guys can see. I'm going to bring it down further. Do you see how it dulled the color, but it didn't take it away? It's still there, and you will still see it under epoxy. It just dulled it so it's not as vibrant. Again, if you wanted it vibrant, if you wanted the colors to be bam in your face, then you would just do your colors after you do your black sparkle. And that'll put those colors right on top of the black sparkle. But I like this way, it's just so much more random and muted. But there you go, that's pretty much it. Again, you don't have to turn this because you didn't use a lot of epoxy. And so you can literally free up your turner for your next project. Let this sit and cure. Then you're going to dry brush it and epoxy, flood coat. If you wanted to add a few more of your Dazzling Gems in there on the flood coat, you can. Or again, you could come back with some of these silver sparklers. But that's it. hope you guys learned a lot. I hope you go create a nice tumbler galaxy theme. Please share your work after you've done it, because we all have a different perception of what a galaxy looks like. So I'd love to see your work, and I hope to see you guys again next time.